Hi, my name is Alejandro Fonseca Barrera. I'm from the Tecnológico de Monterrey Campus Toluca, and I will talk about the state of Mexico. It is the most populated state in the country, and it mixes urban suburbs, industry, and rural areas because of the fast growth. And there are many problems for women, such as violence, few job opportunities, and lack of access to services, for example. To solve this, the government created the Gender Equality Program 2024 to 2029, and this program wants to stop violence, supports women's empowerment, and makes sure public policies include a gender perspective. In 2024, the state approved 14.8 billion pesos for gender equality programs, and the money is used for shelters, training, and equality offices. This shows the government cares about equality, but not all the money reaches local communities. Some towns do not have the same resources or political will, for example. And also the cultural problems like machismo still makes change difficult. There are some good results. The state created more equality offices, started awareness campaigns, and improved services. However, the real social change, like reducing violence or closing economic gaps, will take more time and effort.
Hello, my name is Malika Sheikh. I'm a senior majoring in psychology at St. John's University in the Liberal Arts and Sciences Department. The region I'm going to be discussing today is the state of Mexico. It is the country's most populous state and it surrounds Mexico City. It combines industrial, urban, and rural areas, and the rise of urban growth has happened rapidly as well as internal migration. Because of this, there have been strong gender gaps in employment, safety, and access to services. As a result, the state decided to launch an equality program known as the Gender Equality Program that was established in 2013. It was designed to adapt national gender laws to local needs. And the main goal of the policy is to prevent violence against women, promote women's empowerment, and ensure that all public policies include a gender perspective, which is imperative for creating equality all throughout Mexico and surrounding areas. The State of Mexico approved 14.4 billion pesos for gender equality programs under the state's results-based budget system, which was a very big turning point for the state of Mexico, especially in regards to women and women's healthcare and equality overall. It offers training programs to help women gain financial independence and formal employment. It establishes and strengthens shelters for women and children experiencing violence. It runs awareness campaigns in schools and communities about gender equality and nonviolence, which is also pivotal for the equality of women in Mexico, seeing that a lot of people, especially women, face different challenges such as different socioeconomic classes and not even access to healthcare and imperative things that they may need to live a successful, sustaining life, especially those who have children and do not have proper access to certain healthcare situations. There are some limitations, such as some lack of funding, there's a limited amount of trained staff, and political support needed to apply the policy effectively. However, that won't stop the results in reducing violence rates, and will close proper age gaps. It just may take some time, but it has done a good amount thus far. The proposal I want to discuss is to strengthen the gender equality program in the state of Mexico. One key improvement I would use to increase transparency and accountability in how the budget is distributed across municipalities. I think by creating a public online platform that tracks how equality funds are used, such as how many women benefit from the program, and which programs receive funding and how the results are achieved would make the policy more transparent and effective. Another idea I think that would be beneficial is to have more trained personnel, especially in rural and low-income areas. These units would ideally coordinate directly with employment agencies like healthcare centers, schools, and different opportunities to connect women with job opportunities and make sure they have accessible child programs and legal assistance, as well as partnering with community organizations that could also help make the program more inclusive by reaching out to women who are not connected to formal institutions. And lastly, I do think that the program should include impact evaluation indicators, such as changes in employment rates, access to shelters, or reports of violence to assess long term progress. I think that would help identify which strategies work best and where additional support is needed. I think overall, the state of Mexico shows an important institutional commitment to addressing gender inequality, and it has come a long way and will hopefully go even further in helping women in the state of Mexico, but also all around the world. I think putting this initiative and effort out there and starting in one place will expand into hopefully different regions and surrounding areas and all across the world to ensure that gender equality is a very serious topic that is not only taken seriously, but that has action with it to prove that, it's something worth drawing more light on. Thank you for listening. Once again, I am Malika Sheikh, and I hope you enjoyed.
Chiapas is one of Mexico's most culturally diverse states, with a large indigenous populations, vibrant traditions, and rich natural resources. However, it also faces deep challenges such as poverty, limited access to basic service, and insignificant gender inequalities. In response, the state has implemented gender equality programs aligned with national laws but tailored to its cultural and social realities. These programs focus on three main areas: preventing gender-based violence, strengthening women's economic autonomy, and ensuring that all public policies are integrate a gender and intercultural perspective. While municipalities are responsible for implementing programs, the state government provides training, technical support, and funding. In 2024, Chiapas allocated specific funds through a results-based budgeting system. These resources support local initiatives such as shelters, municipal gender equality office, hotlines, and awareness campaigns adapted to the state cultural diversity. The program primarily targets women and girls living in poverty rural areas and indigenous communities, especially those facing violence, exclusions, or limited access to healthcare, education, and employment. It also aims to transform public institutions by requiring staff to receive training and apply gender perspective in all their work. While there have been important steps, such as opening more equality offices and training government personnel, major challenges remain. In many rural and indigenous communities, services are still scarce, and barriers like machismo and language difference limit women access to support. Not all municipalities have the infrastructure or funding needed to fully implement these policies. Chiapas has shown strong politically well and has made meaningful progress, but real change in the daily lives of women and girls is still slow. Closing gender gaps, reducing violence, and improving access to service will take time, coordination, and sustained commitment.
Hi, my name is Alejandra Molina Zarate. I'm from Tec de Monterrey, Campus Toluca, and I'm going to be talking about Tlaxcala. Tlaxcala is the smallest state in Mexico, but it has worked to strengthen gender equality through policies that focus on violence prevention, women's empowerment, and institutional coordination. Also, the government created new shelters, awareness campaigns, and training for teachers and police officers to improve their responses to gender issues. And these specific things have made a really positive impact, especially in urban areas. However, small municipalities still face challenges like the lack of resources and few trained staff and cultural resistance in traditional communities. So even though Tlaxcala has made some positive progress, long-term change still depends on breaking cultural barriers and ensuring access for women in all regions. Guerrero is one of the states with the highest rates of violence against women in Mexico, and problems like poverty, lack of access to education and healthcare, and the presence of organized crime make the situation even more complex. And because of this, the state implemented the gender violence alert policy, which aims to prevent and reduce feminicides. And even though these measures have helped increase awareness and open more space for dialogue and training, the impact is still limited due to corruption, insecurity, and low funding.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm a mechatronic engineering student at Tec de Monterrey Campus Toluca, and it became clear to me that although there are many policies in Mexico on or supporting gender equality, there is still a long way to go. Each state faces a different realism, like the state of Mexico have more resources and progress with others, such as Guerrero or Chiapas, struggle with social and economic conditions that make it harder to see real results. In the end, I believe that equality cannot be achieved through policies alone, but through a change in attitude and genuine social awareness that begins in everyday life.
Hello, my name is Adrian Wahab. I'm a senior at St. John's University, and I'm from Queens, New York. So after comparing all 4 states, I started to see how different gender equality policies can look depending on where they are and who's responsible for them. In Estados de Mexico, the Equality Unit was created in 2015 to make sure government institutions follow gender laws. It trains staff and reviews public programs to see how they affect women. It also works to close gaps in education, jobs, and safety. When a program like that has real funding and people who take it seriously, it can make a visible difference in women's lives. In Guerrero, the Gender Violence Alert Mechanism was set up to respond to rising rates of violence against women. It asked the state to coordinate with local police, open shelters, and improve legal protections. The idea is strong but weak enforcement, and limited funding makes it harder to see lasting results. Chiapas formed its Ministry for Gender Equality to lead outreach programs and protect women's rights. It runs community workshops and mobile units that visit rural towns, but many remote areas still go without help. Tlaxcala has launched equality programs too, but most of them follow federal models instead of building local plans that fit their needs. So looking at all of this made me realize that laws alone do not create equality. Policies work only when they connect with real people and adapt to their communities. Mexico has solid ideas written into the law, but they often stop short of reaching those who need them. Even so, there is progress. More people are aware and speaking up. Real equality will come from steady work in each community, not just from national plans.
So finally, for our proposal, we focus on 4 Mexican states: Guerrero, Tlaxcala, Estado de Mexico, and Chiapas. Each one was selected for specific gender-related challenges. Guerrero faces high levels of gender violence and significant social gaps. Tlaxcala is particularly affected by issues of human trafficking. Estado de Mexico, the country's most populous state, experienced a high number of femicides. Chiapas, on the other hand, presents challenges related to poverty, indigenous communities, and gaps in health and education services. So, our objective is to compare gender-related public policies across these 4 states using key indicators. These indicators include laws, violence prevention measures, health and labor policies, political participation, and budget allocation. So, to achieve this, we will review states' laws and programs, as well as official data from sources such as INEGI, Mujeres, and CONAVI. We will also present a cross-states comparison table to visualize differences and similarities. So, finally, we have our hypothesis is that Estado de Mexico, despite having a strong legal framework, suffers from weak enforcement. In Guerrero and Chiapas, structural barriers might reduce the effectiveness of the policies presented. Meanwhile, Tlaxcala presents gender-related challenges that need urgent attention. So, these final thoughts. Thank you very much.